Hello and welcome to the second video in my series taking a more mathematical look at the economics you look at both IB level and A level. A full list of topics that I'm going to be covering in this video series is appearing on your screen now. But in this video what I want to look at is the relationship between average revenue and marginal revenue, and in particular why marginal revenue is twice as steep as average revenue. So recall your definition for marginal revenue, and this is the revenue made from selling one additional unit of output, i.e. how does my total revenue change with respect to quantity? And mathematically we can represent this like this. So marginal revenue equals first derivative with respect to quantity of my total revenue. Okay, so just bear that in mind, and we're going to obtain an expression for marginal revenue from our demand curve. So if you watched my first video on solving for the market equilibrium in a demand and supply diagram, you will remember that we looked at my demand curve as a straight line, downward sloping, so your demand curve, which is the same as your average revenue curve, and we said price equals minus 2q plus 8. It doesn't really matter what this coefficient is here. It needs to be negative because the demand curve is downward sloping. Okay, so we're looking at this in a very specific form here, but if you wanted a more general form, you could say price equals minus AQ plus B. So now we have an expression for price in terms of quantity. We can now find our total revenue. And remember, total revenue equals price times quantity. Okay, but we already have an expression for our price. So if I multiply what I have up here through by Q, okay, so I get minus 2Q squared plus 8Q for our total revenue. And then if you think back to what we're looking at previously, our marginal revenue is just the first derivative of total revenue with respect to Q. So we say marginal revenue, which equals first derivative with respect to quantity of total revenue. So all we're going to do is differentiate this thing here with respect to Q. So I get minus 4Q plus 8. So this is our expression for marginal revenue here, and this is our expression for average revenue here. And if you compare the coefficient on your Q, you get minus 4 here versus minus 2 here. So you can see that for marginal revenue is going to be twice as steep as average revenue, and it doesn't really matter what the actual numbers are, because if you think, how do we get our coefficient on Q down here? Well, it's through multiplying through by quantity to give us our Q squared here, and then when you take your first derivative, you need to multiply by the power. So it's that 2 there which is leading to the coefficient doubling from, in this case, minus 2 to minus 4. But if you had minus 3 up here, then it would get turned into a minus 6, or if you had a minus 5, then that would turn into a minus 10. So whatever your coefficient is up here, it's going to double, and your marginal revenue curve is going to be twice as steep. Thanks for watching my video. Feel free to check out some of the other content available on my channel, or you can leave me a comment if there's anything in particular you'd like to see.